car review for you. This is a 1990 Ford Orion. Very interesting car, and I grabbed this because, to be honest, I've never been offered one of these ever. In the whole time of me running this channel, I've never been offered one of these. So, really exciting and different car to bring for you today. Now, of course, I own an Escort Series 1, the pinnacle of RS turbos and stuff, so it's nice to actually jump in a similar generation Ford and actually go and experience it. So what we're going to do is go down some B roads, go and enjoy this thing, see how it reacts, chat about the engine swap that's in this. It would have, from the factory, been a 1.4 litre LX Orion. This actually has a 1.6 litre CVH engine with twin Webers. Now this of course means the power increase is up to, what, 70 horsepower, I think, something like that from the non-turbocharged CVH. Now, a lot of people would be like, oh, 70 horsepower is not a lot, but to me, in a slightly light car, it's still become a good bit of fun, this car. Now, the starting story and how this became to be in the owner's possession is really something cool. Now, the owner actually was forwarded this car when it was in a classic car magazine. And not a lot of people, obviously, these days buy anything from magazines, let alone classic cars. So this actually had a description with no pictures whatsoever of the car. And this is back in 2017, so 3 years ago. The owner's friend was actually looking for a classic car magazine, found the little write-up of this car, and they thought, well, let's go and check it out. It's relatively cheap, see what it's like. They ventured up and actually found this thing in a garage with a cover on, and it was a pretty genuine looking car. Slightly rusty here and there, but all old Fords are. That the owner actually paid, and she doesn't mind me saying this, £570 for this car in 2017, so that's 3 years ago. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I tried to have a look for a Ford Orion at the moment, you will not be finding one that cheap, in my opinion. I've had a little look this morning to see what is actually for sale, and most of the classified ads that I'm actually finding are of, yes, very mint, low mileage cars, but they're well into the thousands, which is very interesting talking point, because even in the last 3 years, and I'm not saying these are the least desirable cars, but the slightly more mainstream versions of older Ford products are even increasing, way beyond my realization of how fast these cars, or any, you know, very mainstream classic car, is actually going up these days. So this one has a swapped out 1.6 litre CVH, which at 70 brake horsepower, not going to, you know, throw you in the back of the seat or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but it still does put his power down. It's still so enjoyable. Third gear, it sounds like the 90s coming in, naturally aspirated. Does rev very well, around to 6,000 RPM. It puts a massive smile on your face. So to me, cars like this, it isn't about loads of power and all this sort of business. It is about the driving feel. It is so nice to jump in something like this though, because it is classic. It smells like a classic, and I do think if you're in the market for something like this at the moment, the time to buy is now. These are increasing by the day. Even mainstream four-door cars like this are still going up in value. So it's really nice for me to bring this sort of car to the channel, because I do enjoy my classics and I do enjoy the more mainstream stuff that would have in theory been a throwaway car when this car existed back in the 90s and early 2000s. Not a lot of these would have been saved, which is a shame. And of course the more desirable cars like the Orion RS Turbo, which to this morning I am going to hold my hands up and say I didn't even know existed. And this actually has the Orion RS Turbo body kit on it, so it has the front and rear bumpers from the Ford Orion RS Turbo. Now I cannot find one of those cars for sale, and subsequently the owner cannot find side skirts for this car from an RS Turbo Orion, which is a bit of a shame. don't get me wrong, there is a lot of Series 2s, Series 1s out there, but for me, just having a little nose, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, you know, various other places, I can't find one for sale. So obviously replicating that is what the owner is envisaging in her head. I can completely see why. The bumpers do make this car, I think it makes it look a lot more purposeful. Now as we come down the gears, you can hear that Scorpion back box burbling at around 2,500–3,000 RPM. Sounds just like a classic, just right. Now we're not going to say that this thing is on point and amazing and fast and you could put it into any corner, it will come out the other end, because it is of course not that car. This is of course an old classic, lovely four-door Orion, so it will react to a corner like now. She sways a little bit, but you know what, that's part of the character and I love it for that. The engine, the exhaust, all of that sort of stuff does sound fantastic as well. It's such a nice place to be with, you know, it being a classic. You know, she's 30 years old, but it's so comfortable in here. It's actually got the gear interior in it at the moment. Yeah, this thing is a right laugh. It's a proper classic. They are increasing in value. I think everybody knows that, but not a lot of people are obviously looking for these. They're looking for Escorts and Fiestas and all that sort of stuff, which I completely agree with. Hold my hands up and say I'm exactly the same. When I was looking for a classic Ford, I went for an Escort. Didn't even look at Orions. Today, after seeing this one and enjoying it, I think more people should be looking at the Orion. They are more of a budget-friendly car for you to actually jump in at the moment, I think. And this one drives A1. Little cruise down a B road in the classic Orion. Scorpion back box sounds fantastic. Now setting this car off as well are the TSW Stealth wheels, again of era. These don't look wrong on this car, they actually look incredibly right. It's so much fun, these little old cars, because when you do put it into a corner, and yeah, this is a, you know, family four-door, it's still enjoyable to drive. It's still just a bit of excitement. So as ever guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, if you like classic cars, if you like classic car ownership, give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't. If you have a car that you would like to feature on the channel, get at me, JamieFYD on Instagram, and I'll see you all on the next one.